Can you tell who we have?
We're just waiting for some people to get on.
It's a Friday morning here. There we go. So Kristen, you're in home base.
I am, yes. Brand new space here.
We are too. We've turned our living room into a studio. It's official.
I like that. I've now turned my office into a studio.
Thank
you. For those of you guys watching, I put on makeup this morning, which with part of my new normal is the first time I've done this all week. So definitely different than what we're used to with our little show here.
Laura says good morning.
Good morning, Laura. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. So, awesome. All right. So we've got a few people on. So we just want to jump on today because this was our normal day to be in the studio. And with everything going on, we decided probably not best to be in the studio. So like most other TV shows and radio shows, we are going to be broadcasting the No Limits podcast from the comfort of our own home, which creates some, for me, technical difficulties, because usually I just show up and walk in and start talking.
Yeah.
And so now Whitney and Isaac and Sweet Pea that you'll see there in the background are going to be producing from afar. So we wanted to jump on today. We're still going to stick with Tuesdays, but we're switching to the morning since most people are going to be working from home at 9 a.m. But we want to jump on today, just kind of figure out, check in with everybody, see how people are doing, figure out what this new normal, this whole new world that we're in is looking like. So Whitney's transformed her living room completely.
Yes, I commented yesterday, this is not how we typically watch TV with our TV. Yes. So we've got cameras up. The whole kitchen room, island is covered in audio equipment. Isaac's over there with all the buttons and whistles, and then we're turning the couch. And Sweet Pea's she's going with the flow. You can see it in her eyes. She's just not quite sure what's happening.
Yeah. Well, she's not used to it. Well, that's what I wanted to chat with you about, and everybody listening. And feel free to ask some questions, write some comments, and let us know what you guys are thinking, because at least for me, I'm used to working from home. I work from home a lot. I do a lot of conference calls, a lot of Zoom calls. But what I'm finding is most of my clients don't. So it's a big niche for so many people just have to switch their world. And then add on top of that the kids are home now.
Right.
So, a lot of the people, my girls were at their dad's this week, which was very helpful because I actually could work and get used to this new normal without having to do 4 or 5 hours of homework a day. But I took a walk around the neighborhood last night, and the parents they're struggling. They're really struggling trying to balance, how do I help kids with schoolwork and get my work done at the same time. So it's definitely a new thing that we're not used to. And I think it's going to get worse because we're going to see more closures, more. My daughter, my oldest, who's in Athens Georgia got put on lockdown last night. So they are in a shelter in place by ordinance as of last evening. So they're not supposed to leave their house.
Oh, wow.
So we haven't seen that yet. Atlanta City has, but we haven't seen that where we live. So I'll be curious. I'd love to hear how people are coping and what they're doing. So I'm stocked up with food, stocked up with Rockstar. I am afraid I may run out, which could constitute an emergency to go out. But what are you guys doing? What are y'all worried about, and what's seeming like it's working pretty well?
Yeah, what was interesting is this weekend when everything started getting a little bit more serious about the fact that we all may be working from home for quite some time. Our biggest thing, we had the typical toilet paper, paper towels, but we needed food because we're not used to eating 3 meals here at the house. So we stocked up on that. And then I know myself, we've talked about this on some previous episodes where I'm very much the type where if I get started on a project, I just like to stay in that project. And so when you're at home, it's really easy to do that, right? Like there's laundry and things like that, but as far as distractions, for me, it's easier for me at home just to zone in on the computer and work from when I get up to when I go to bed. And so I made sure I stocked up on books so that I could make myself get offline and go read and step outside and go on the balcony. And we've been taking walks with Sweet Pea, so she's been a good distraction.
And I think the distractions are good. So what I've been kind of coaching people to do at home, if you're now finding yourself suddenly working from home, or schedule some breaks. Because if you sit, the problem is a lot of times you don't know when to turn it off.
Right.
So get outside, take a walk in the neighborhood. That's still social distancing. But also, reading is good. Have a couple breaks throughout the day. Have a set time that you're like, all right, I'm done. I'm checking out. But also take a lunch, like make a nice meal with all this food we've all hoarded now. Cook a meal and sit down and actually eat.
Right.
And if your family's at home, have a lunchtime and connect with them, because this may be the only time we've seen our spouses. I keep seeing those memes going around Facebook where, the husband's like, there's no sport. So the husband's like, there's a lady sitting on my couch. Apparently she's my wife. She seems nice. So use that time to try to connect with people.
Right.
Usually we live in a house with people, we don't really know what's up with them.
Yeah.
We have comments on Facebook. Angela said, good morning.
Perfect.
And then Shelby said, for people that don't normally work from home, how do you approach structuring your time? Many people
I like
think
that.
it's
Okay.
vacation.
Nice.
Yeah, so I see the comments now. So Shelby, let's take yours. So if you don't, structuring your time is going to be key. I'm a big time block fan. So I tend to look at, obviously you're going to schedule any conference calls, Zoom calls that you have in there. Schedule those first, but I also schedule my to-dos. And I've talked about that on the show before, where if I have set number of things I need to get done, I try to look at the gaps or the white space in my calendar and schedule those in. So especially if you're working from home, because it is easy to get distracted with laundry or cleaning the house or anything like that. Schedule the to-dos in your calendar. If you have kids at home that you are homeschooling now, which I think is harder than working, especially for elementary age kids, schedule that in there. Schedule the time where if it's going to take them an hour and a half, or if their teacher's doing Zoom calls, which a lot of them are, Google Hangouts, schedule that in there too. So I think time blocking is going to be key with the schedule if you're to structure it. But also, to your point, Shelby, on the comments, it's not a vacation. I really feel like I'm used to working from home, and I'm finding myself getting more done this week because I'm so structured.
Yeah.
So if you can approach it like, hey, this is not a vacation. This is an opportunity for me to create more hours. We live in Atlanta, so most of us are used to commuting 2-3 hours a day. You've recaptured 2 or 3 hours in your schedule. You can give Sweet Pea hugs and kisses like that. You can spend some time with your pets, but schedule it all in for sure.
And then we
I think that's
have
going to be it.
Laura, another comment on Facebook.
Yeah, so Laura's saying that getting clients to use technology more. So it's funny how many don't use electronic sources. I have found that too. What's interesting, I work a lot in finance, and a lot of my coaches are in the insurance and financial arena. They're pretty used to Zoom calls or Skype calls and showing presentations, but a lot of clients aren't. So to help them, teach them, I use Zoom a lot. I like Zoom. I've even upgraded my package this week because I'm using it so much more. But if you can teach your clients, the opportunity we have right now with clients, and honestly with prospects too, for those of you in looking for new business, is be a resource. The more you can be a resource to them, teach them how to use this technology. Start by inviting them to a Zoom coffee. So start by either, with a client or a prospect, say, hey, I know we can't meet right now, but why don't we jump on a Zoom meeting, grab a cup of coffee? Go an extra step and email them a gift certificate to Starbucks. Just so they know you're thinking about them. And if they don't know how to use it, walk them through. The technology is super easy if they really take the time to learn it.
Do you think the new normal really is the new normal in the sense of when everything goes back to the old normal? Do you see workplaces, I don't want to use the word mandate, but almost suggesting, hey, you know what, you all were more productive during this time, and why don't we work in a 1 to 2 days where that's your dedicated day to work from home?
Right. I definitely do. I had this conversation with a coaching client of mine yesterday. He said, well, when everything gets back to normal, and I was challenging him, I said, I don't think we're going to get back to normal. Yeah. I think we're going to see a modified normal, because you're right. If I'm a company and I have tens of thousands of square feet that I'm paying rent on, and my people can work from home, I don't need the space. I've then cut my costs. I then can hire more people. I can do things. So I think we'll see some efficiencies and honestly scalability based on those efficiencies if we can really capitalize on them. So that's another reason why working from home needs to be that. It needs to be work. I mean, I still want you to get work done. You know, I've always been the type of employer that's like, I don't really care when you work. I just need you to get it done.
Yeah.
So I think if people really embrace this and start to say, hey, I'm not having to commute. I can be home for dinner with my kids. I can take a lunch with my spouse, whatever it is. If you can embrace that and still get everything done, this could create some really cool new normals for us. But I don't think it will go back. I think we're gonna change things a little bit. You know, even with meeting clients and prospects, I'm advising my coaching clients now is do those coffee meetings, do your initial like networking thing online. Then you're not fighting traffic. You can keep it to whatever time frame it needs to be, and you just create greater efficiencies. So.
Yeah, yeah. We've always been very similar, you know, in the space of creatives. We do. I mean, we very much have several employees who are on. Their creativity is on at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Whitney cannot do that. She is very much asleep. Yes, I need sleep.
Yeah.
But that's true. I mean, how do you make a creative say, well, I need you to be on at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when, you know, it's really not something you can control. You just can't be like, okay, creativity on and flip the switch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I think that's where employers and bosses, especially creative fields, are a little bit different because you're right. You know, even with the book I'm working on, I write better at night.
Yeah.
So most of my writing time is chunked. My time blocks for that are in the evening, late at night, because that's when I'm more creative. But this is where, as employers, we need to have some flexibility. And going back to what I said earlier, I need people to get their work and their tasks done. I don't need to, I think sometimes we spend so much time micromanaging and dictating how it gets done as opposed to just making sure it does get done.
Yeah.
So for my clients I have that are managing a remote workforce, what I'm really trying to get them to do is how can you empower them to get things done? How can you empower them to do their work, but in a way that fits their schedule? Because honestly, if we can help our employees learn how to be efficient on their terms and their time, and they still get everything done, we both win. We have happy employees. They're not going to want to go anywhere. I promise you, some of them are going to I get that there are people that aren't going to enjoy working from home. And those people can't wait to go back. I mean, there are bad living situations. There's all kind of stuff. And I'm certainly empathetic to that. So for those people, I do hope they can get back to their normal and get out of the house. But for a lot of folks, we can create some efficiencies. But, you know, Shelby had just commented and said, what are a few things to coach people through with the fear factor? And I think that's a big point with all of this is people are freaking out. So I've I feel like first and foremost, we all need to give people a little grace and understand that no one is used to this yet. I've kind of been telling people, hey, this week is our messed up week. This is everybody's just now figuring it out. Same thing with us. We're trying to get online and we're like, what? I don't know what buttons to push. And, you know, I don't get the technical piece a lot of times. So the fear is the unknown is really what it is. You know, Shelby, to your point about the fear factor, once we can embrace that it's going to be okay, we just need to learn to navigate it. And if our focus can be on the navigation and on the grace we show other people, I think we'll be good. Because, I mean, there's some funny stuff coming out of this. Like I had a call with a client the other day, and she's set up at home. She's got everything. She's time blocked. She's doing this. And she's got two very small children. And she told her kids, if mommy's on the call, you need to raise your hand.
Right.
And the way her setup is the kids are off to the side. And she's on a Zoom call with somebody, and the person she's talking with, who she knew, it was an established client, kind of goes, there's a little one behind you with their hand up, you know, so it's like the kid had gone in the background and was like, Mom. But they thought it was funny, you know, because all of us, the best way to not be fearful is to realize this, we are in this together, and no one has this figured out yet. It's a new thing for all of us. So just embrace it. Figure out, how can I show some grace and compassion? How can I help people that need helping? And then just as far as we go, just let's figure it out. I mean, don't waste the time worrying. There's certainly a lot of things to worry about, but focus the time forward on what you can actually control. I'm a big fan of controlling the controllables.
Love it. So on LinkedIn, question is, do you have tips or recommendation for those who don't necessarily have a dedicated home office? So let's say they're in an apartment and they're typically not working from home.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people are putting out articles that say, you know, you need to have a dedicated space separated from your bed and your couch to do your work. So what are your thoughts on that, Kristen?
I think that's a good point because not all of us, I mean, I have a home office which I can shut the doors and get away. So that I'm fortunate to be able to do that. But I get that a lot of people don't. My biggest piece of advice, just find a space that can be yours. So kitchen table, dining room table are typically fine. If you do have small children, I would try to segregate from them the best you can. You may not be able to. So in my client's case, if they're in the same room, you've got to put some rules in place with them. If I'm on a call, you need to raise your hand, or, as much as we frown upon device time, if you've got a conference call and little kids, it may be device time. You may be sticking an iPad in front of them because we've got to figure out what works. My biggest piece of advice with people without dedicated space is don't use your bedroom. Whatever you do, don't use your bedroom. Because if you're sitting in bed, it just creates a relaxed, I'm supposed to be resting type of vibe with you. And I don't know that it's really going to affect your calls. It might, because you might be a little bit more relaxed than you would. But I promise you, when you go to sleep at night, you've now associated that bed with work. So the bed, I don't care if you have to
That's good.
cop a squat on the floor. I'd rather you be sitting, crisscross applesauce on the floor than working from your bed.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, we were sharing before, excuse me, when we went live that Sweet Pea likes to pop in every now and then too. So
Yeah. But it's okay. I mean, I think a lot of people have pets. A lot of people have small kids at home.
Yeah.
And you know how I'm very big for, you guys watched the show before, I'm very big on people not being your people. That's what the whole premise of the book we have coming out is not everyone's for you. If you're working with a client or a prospect and they're seriously getting aggravated because you have a child in the background during the middle of a lockdown and a pandemic, they're probably not your people.
Right.
So, I want everybody to show grace and understanding. And if people can't do that, don't work with them.
Yeah.
I'm to a person, all the clients I've spoke with this week, a lot of them are nervous for sure, especially my guys in finance, but there's big opportunities in this. Like every industry has opportunities. There's certainly some that are a lot harder hit. The market's down, people are losing money, but people are also losing jobs. So I think we need to focus our time on how can we help. For those of us that are still working, that are still able to work, do that as best you can, and then figure out how you can give back and help others, whether it's posting links to restaurants or buying gift cards online for small businesses that may have shut down so they get an influx of cash right now. Things like that, and then on the personal side, taking time to connect with your family, with your neighbors, with your friends, Zoom coffee, Zoom wine nights. With some of my girls and I were planning a Zoom wine night the other night. So, do what you can to just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
The last thing I want people to do is just to freeze.
Yeah. Sarah Marie that I mentioned on one of our talks last night with the Liger team, she came up with quarantine cocktails.
Oh, I like that. I've seen the memes about the quarantinis, martinis and the quarantinis.
Yeah,
I like that. And then one of my friends, everybody's stocking up on food, and one of my friends yesterday posted a picture. I guess she was pulling the groceries out, and one of her wine bottles shattered. So she had a picture of like a shattered bottle with red all over, and she's like, "Man down!" And I'm like, "Oh, that's about the worst thing that can happen." No. But keep some levity, and I would say that is I did post a funny meme probably a couple weeks ago before things started really getting bad. It wasn't inappropriate. It wasn't funny. But one person was like, "You're an awful..." There were hundreds of comments. Everybody thought it was funny. But one person was like, "You're a horrible person. I can't believe this. Why would you post?" And, my thought was, for a lot of people, humor and levity is what's going to get them through this.
Right.
So as long as people are being respectful, show some grace and just help everybody navigate this new world best they can.
Yeah.
Because we're all in together.
Yeah.
For sure.
What about some ideas for continuing to push business forward? So we're doing coffee meetings and things like that over Zoom, but like as an example, I loved the PDF really that you put out on some solid tips on like, okay, we're working from home.
Yeah.
This is here to stay, at least for the foreseeable future. What are some things like that, that really I say any industry, but a lot of our B2Bs can do?
Yeah, there's a ton because I feel like it's that Mr. Rogers quote, and when things are scary, look for the helpers. My urge to everybody, myself included, all my clients, is to be the helper. So I did the PDF of work from home because I know a lot of work people do. I have a PDF for my financial advisors and insurance folks of things that you need to be doing right now to help your clients and to move business forward. Because this is a great time for new business. It really is. And it may not result right now, but if you can focus on new relationship building, so be the helper. If you know your market and the people you serve, figure out what they're challenged with and help with that. I'm doing a webinar with some other coaches and consultants today at noon that are meant for financial advisors, because we all, we're all friends, most of us that consult in the industry. And there were a bunch of us started talking, we're like, people are worried. So we're going to jump on and offer a free webinar just to give our tips and our insight as to the things you can do to move forward. So the more you can put content out there and information that's useful, do it for free. I was giving away a lot of free stuff this week, which, because it will come back. You put the good juju out there, it's going to come back to you.
Right. So are there ways, because we will rebound from this.
Yes.
How do we get ready for that? And there's a lot of different ways of, okay, we may go back to a little bit of old normal where we've got some days we're at the office and some days at home.
Right.
But there, again, something we were talking about last night is imagine all the people that will be eating out at restaurants and will be taking vacations after all this because they've been cooped up and eating turkey sandwiches for maybe 3 months, who knows?
Yeah, it's true, because we all stocked up on food. We all have the same stuff. I'm mad at you that took all the chickpeas. I'm not happy with the chickpea stealers because I can't find the chickpeas anywhere. But you're right, we're going to be
She
eating
doesn't
the
mean
same
me.
stuff.
She's not mad at me.
I'm like, there's no chickpeas. But we're cooped up. We're going to be so ready to go to restaurants, to go to the gym. I mean, I may even want to go to a gym after this, because they're all closed now and you can't go. So the quickest way to make people want something is to say you can't have it.
Yeah.
So we will rebound. My concern, honestly, is for the small business owners that are struggling right now, whose businesses may not survive. The government's looking at some things and trying to put some things in place. I don't know if they're going to be able to save them all. I doubt they will. Yeah. So my urge to people is it will come back, but if you can help it stay afloat right now, help it. Buy a gift card. I've posted links to restaurants that I'm friends of. I have a friend that has a jewelry line. I have, friends that have a apparel line. Anything you can do to help those friends right now, help them. But we will bounce back, and we're going to see the pendulum swing where we're probably spending more than we need to. But for now, spend money on the necessities, spend money to help people that need helping. But we're also going to find that we can live on a lot less. We're probably going to get rid of frivolous time wasters. We're going to get rid of frivolous expenditures. Those are all good things. So if we can take that and move forward, maybe in a sense of being more intentional with our spending and intentional with our time, I think that's going to be a good thing to come out of all this.
Beth, we have a comment on Facebook from Beth.
Okay.
I love it, Beth. Be the helper. So Beth King says, be the helper, which that's the Mr. Rogers thing. It's we're all scared. I think we'd all be lying if we said there wasn't a scary part about this. I read an article and I immediately go, oh, I think I'm short of breath, right? We're all doing that. We're like, I think I have a fever. I feel perfectly fine, but you hear these stories and my heart goes out to the people. I'm a crier. I'm an ugly crier too. So I'll read the articles where, the grandpa's in the nursing home and test positive and nobody can come see him and he passes by himself. These are horrible things that are happening. So I feel like since so many of us are living the bad stuff, I mean, for knock on wood, it hasn't affected me directly yet, but I know people that it has, and I just hurt for them. So if you can, follow what Beth's saying and Mr. Rogers and be the helper, there's a ton of ways to help right now.
Yeah, we had another comment, protect your weekends, which is...
Protect your what?
Protect your weekends.
Yeah.
Which again, we're at home, so the tendency is we're going to just keep working. But now, even more, than ever, we have to say, okay, on Saturday, Sunday, you really do need to take an opportunity to maybe not be on the computer doing work things.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. And what's interesting is even with the social distancing and the lockdowns, you're still allowed to go outside. You're still allowed to take a walk, stay away and stay distanced from people. But you can still get out and get some fresh air. You can have conversations. You can have game night. You can have movie night. I have no less than probably 10 or 20 people have already emailed or texted me that the Hallmark Channel is rerunning all their movies for free. apparently it's an issue when that many people start emailing me going, Kristen, Hallmark Channel's
Yes.
airing all these movies.
Love it.
But, there's things we can do. So use it, protect your, I agree. I like that. Protect your weekends. I'm definitely going to work because I got to get this manuscript for the book done. But I do have time carved out just to do stuff.
Yeah.
Whether, read a book, play a game, connect with people. Like
Right.
virtual coffee dates, virtual wine dates. Don't lose your friends during this.
Right.
Make sure they need you as much as you need them. So jump on Zoom
Right.
and schedule a date.
We have a comment from Shelby on Facebook. I love what she says.
All right, so Shelby has said, people are overcommitted in life. There are many people that are enjoying this opportunity to say no because they're allowed to. We should really observe that and see where we are relieved and what we miss. See, I love that. Shelby, you're so smart. That's why you're my girl. So Shelby and I share a brain a lot of times. But it's so true because we're so used to saying yes, 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 and committing when we don't need to. So this is an opportunity. Oh, can't go out, can't, overcommit. Just find it. I always say if it's not bringing you energy or moving you closer to your goals, you need to say no. So now you've got a pretty good excuse to say no. Figure out where your energy is. And once we get past this and we start to establish our new normal, then let's figure out, okay, I really enjoyed not doing that anymore. I really enjoyed not having to go to this board meeting or this, I really missed this particular class at the gym.
Right.
I think it's a great point. Let's use this as research to figure out. So,
something else on LinkedIn. So what are some recommendations for leaders during this time? And when this question came across, something that I thought of is how we conducted our team meeting this week, which is where we were all on Zoom. So it was like 15 of us on Zoom.
Yeah.
But instead of going, typically what we'll do is go client by client and give an update or, are there any roadblocks? We just went kind of round robin and said, what are you doing? What are you watching? What are you reading? Are you okay? Are you taking breaks? So what are your recommendations for leaders in this?
I think that's the key because our tendency as leaders, especially with a lot of people, is to check in on tasks and to check in, on your to-do list versus to check in on the person. And I think checking on to-do list and everything like that is okay when you're face-to-face because you can read nonverbals, you can see how they're doing. But if we're working and managing a remote workforce, first and foremost, you need to check in on them. I had one of my clients the other day manages a team of recruiters, and we were having this discussion like she's checking in the morning and the evening really quick. How's it go as a group? How's it going? What you got on the plate for today? Not every client by client, but anything big you're challenged with, anything you want our input. And at the end of the day, it's how you're feeling, what went well, what didn't, what you got planned for this evening. Because we need to make sure that we're looking at the whole person. And I feel like as leaders, that's our responsibility, especially when we're not around them day to day to help them, is to figure out how they're doing. Because some of them, with all the new normal, based on their home situation, are going to have a multitude of stress that they did not have before. And to be understanding and show some grace with those people, but still check in on them. So they still got to get their work done.
Right.
But I think the more you can see them as a human, as opposed to an employee, you're going to go a lot further as a leader.
Right. I love
make
that.
Make them feel empowered and not micromanaged, but also make them feel like you care.
I love that.
Good.
Yeah.
And then Laura, we have a comment on Facebook from Laura.
Yeah, she said, I'm getting more responses to simple shared information with the continuous changes coming out. She said, Laura's in accounting. People want simple answers in the midst of the chaos. I feel like it's intentional. I feel like intentional is huge. All right, my word is for the year and for last year is intentional. So I love that. I'm finding that too. Like I'm trying to urge my clients, even their communication when they put out, I wanted a lot of my guys to reach out to their clients, especially their top clients, and say, hey, here's what we're doing. I did not need I got 987 emails we're now washing our hands, which I really didn't need those because I was kind of assuming they were doing that anyway.
Right.
But what I want people to do is, to Laura's point, short communications. Let them know you're there. Let them know you are available if you need them. A lot of my clients are calling their top clients or email them saying, hey, I'm working from home, but it is business as usual. Here's my cell phone. I just want you to know I'm thinking about you. Short, sweet, to the point. They don't need these long emails and explanations. Everybody gets it. Time is short right now. So if we can use this to get more intentional, love my word, intentional and focused, this could really create so many opportunities for us.
Yeah. Mine was contentment.
Contentment.
Yes.
One of my friends, she's fantastic. She's in the financial world as well. Just published a book. Let's see if I can find it. If you need one, but Andi Fraser, she had just published a book in Forbes Finance. So look up her stuff. It's called Financially Free, which is really awesome. But she was teasing the other day because she said at the beginning of the year, her word for the year was pause. And she's like, I didn't really know that that was going to take hold like that. But, you know, we can all pause. We really can. We're not going to stop, but pause to allow more of the good in and get rid of the things that weren't meant for us or that aren't bringing us joy or moving us closer to our goals.
Yep. So I love the format that you're taking on, No Limit. So you're going to do a new time of 9 a.m. every Tuesday.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah, so we were normally 7 p.m. We were broadcasting from the studio. We're doing all that just to keep everybody safe. We're going to broadcast like this format from our house. We're going to move it up to 9 a.m. instead of 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. So 9 a.m. Tuesdays, we'll have our No Limits podcast. These next few weeks, I think what we're going to do is this format where we allow everybody to ask questions because we're still navigating these waters and trying to figure out what this new normal looks like. So we encourage you to, jump on, ask questions. We'll answer as many as we can. If there are topics you want us to make sure we cover, DM us or message us and let us know, and we'll include them in. And then, let's give it a few weeks and see the state of the world there. And as we start to gain some normalcy and some consistency in our routine, so we're going to bring back some awesome guests who can help contribute to this too. So we're not going anywhere. We're just looking a little different in the background here.
Love that.
I don't have a fancy TV screen though behind me. Y'all gonna have to sit on the kitchen table to watch TV now, though.
Yeah, right. But yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's quite. I'm sure it's quite interesting to watch us move the
I'm sure.
couch around.
Move it around. Yeah. Yeah, but we really want to we still want to be there. We don't want to go away. We want to make sure we can engage with everybody. And also, if you guys have ideas or have, I think one of the things that would be cool to do is we all have people who are challenged and whose businesses are challenged. And I've done a few posts on my Facebook page about this. But, if you have ideas of ways to help, I would love to share those. One of the things Laura was talking about, small things with your clients. A lot of what I'm sending out is, hey, I read this article, I thought it'd be great. Or, hey, I know you've got children who are really into the arts, and I just found a link to where Playbill's streaming Broadway plays. There's anything that you think might help somebody, just send it out via text or email and just be the helper. So as you guys come up with ideas that we haven't thought of, we'd love to hear them so we can share them with our No Limits community.
I love that.
Awesome. Well, cool. All right. So I think this is pretty fun. I kind of like this. And it's written comments as we go. So very cool. All right. Let's see. We've got one more. Danielle says we also have to remember to keep a little levity these days. Everything's going on so serious. It's finding some fun in the situation. Oh my gosh, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I'm all over the memes. I've got my one. Y'all look out later because my wine tour is coming this weekend. If y'all haven't seen that meme, I'll be posting it later. I posted it in the book page earlier, but it's true. It's crazy times. So first and foremost, try to find the fun, try to find the joy. But second, for those of you out here who are kiboshing people and just blasting people for trying to have a little levity, just let them have the levity. Lighten up a little bit. I mean, this needs to be more than any other time in our history, a judgment-free zone, where if somebody needs to laugh, let them laugh. If somebody needs to cry, let them cry. Give them a virtual hug, and then, laugh with them. Let's just find the positive and figure out how we move forward intentionally, creating something better than what we had.
Love that.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kristen.
All right. Thank you, the marvelous Miss Mendoza and Sweet Pea for joining us this
I know,
morning.
she did pretty good. It's early, so
And
she's
Isaac
still a little
for running
sleepy.
all the buttons, so awesome. All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. If you come up with any questions, thoughts, anything, feel free to DM me or put them in the comments, and we'll be sure and include them next week. So we will be back on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. with your next edition of No Limits. So you guys have a great week and go make something happen.
We'll be right back.